did to be different. I did to be different. I did to be different. I did. I did. I did to be different. To be different. I did to be different.
I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. What's up, peoples? How you doing? It is a great day. Yes, yes, yes. And I'm so very excited. You just don't know. You just don't know. I just saw the cutest little puppy that I just want to grab and just kind of cuddle, but I can't do it because he's really far away. But I want to welcome Todd Monahan to the show. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, the honor is mine. And the cute little puppy, thank you so much for showing him to me.
No problem. You can come borrow him if you want. He's a handful.
He is cutie. He's a cutie. All right. So tell us about yourself.
Sure. Well, I am an author. This book that I'm being interviewed for here, Dreamin in '89, is actually my second novel. My first novel, The Vexing Heirloom, came out in 2017 through Citrine Publishing, and that is more of a historical fantasy novel that someday, when I have time, I hope to go back and make sort of the cornerstone of a larger series of books, sort of an expanded universe. Dreamin in '89, which came out in 2018, also from Citrine Publishing, is my second novel. It's a YA coming of age story set in the 1980s, largely rooted in my own in events that happened to me during the summer of 1989 myself. When I'm not writing, I'm an attorney. I work for New York State as an attorney, this New York State Education Department, and I also have a small private practice of law. My number one job is father. I'm the father to a wonderful 11-year-old boy who's here in the background in my house somewhere doing God knows what. And as you know, I just said I have two dogs, two puppies. I live in upstate New York, just outside Schenectady, where we just got a foot of snow today. I served in the U.S. Marine Corps for several years. I was a judge advocate. I served in Iraq from 04 to 05. I was at Fallujah, Abu Ghraib, and Baghdad. Got out of the Marines in 2008, and I've been up here in the Albany, Schenectady area ever since, as a lawyer and as an author. I have just embarked on the process of trying to turn Dreamin in '89 into a movie, with some assistance from Dream Books. So hopefully we can generate some interest in the book. It did win several awards, but hopefully we can generate some interest in the book prior to the movie coming. I know 80s nostalgia is very big right now.
Yes.
And this, yeah, I mean, I'm an 80s fanatic myself. Things like Stranger Things, movies, TV shows like that are just right up my alley. This is very much rooted in, an eyewitness view of what it was like in the late 1980s, told from the perspective of a 12-year-old boy. I wouldn't exactly call him a self-insert character, but it's definitely something that was rooted in my own experience. So it was a pleasure to write, and I've gotten good feedback on it so far from everyone who's bought it, and it's a particular book into a movie. I've always felt it was perfect for treatment, similar to, I don't know if you've heard of a movie called was it 8-Bit Christmas, I believe, that came out a few years ago. similar to A Christmas Story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's a mouthful. But I have a lot of questions though, because I
Sure.
mean, back in the 80s was amazing. It was amazing. But you said a 12-year-old boy. Were you the 12-year-old boy?
Yes, I was 12 years old in the summer of 1989.
But I mean, I remember the 80s a little bit more than you do. About a 12-year-old
Yeah.
boy, gosh, I was 17 in 89.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah, that was like 80s was amazing. The 80s was like everything was introduced in the 80s. You had the computer, the desktop, then you had the
Yep.
phone, and then all of the all the iconic movies were coming out, and Madonna. I mean, you had
Of
everything.
course.
I mean, you had Woolworths on the corner,
Right. Right.
of
Right.
Grand
Well,
Concourse.
I just introduced my son to Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh my
because
gosh, you have to do that.
puppy.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been repeating some of the parts that I'd rather he didn't, but it's a classic, and any
It definitely is.
American needs to see that. So
Yes, yes. And your
um,
book, reminiscent of the 80s, I don't think it's going to be one of those books that's going to fail at all as a movie. I think that's going to be amazing.
I hope so. Dreaming in '89 actually started life as a screenplay. I had written a novel, and I wanted to, show that I had a second pitch, that I could write a screenplay. But as it was going along, I just figured, it's best to maybe just write this as a novel and then someday go back to it. So it became a novel, but the DNA is meant for the movies.
Yeah.
The big screen is in its DNA. So I do feel like it'll be as good, if not better, in that form.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I find that New Yorkers are very outgoing and not exaggerated, because I lived in New York for many, many years. And it's just like that mentality it's big. It's got to be big. It's got to be big. So when you write a book of the 80s, it's like you're talking about Molly Ringwald, you're talking about Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you're talking about all these really cool, like when Tom Cruise came out and he slid. I mean, that was like, what was that? Risky Business? Okay, you're talking about all these cool movies, all these big things, and then all of the things that happened during that time. What is your book talking about specifically?
Well, one of the, going along with the theme of movies that you just mentioned, if you recall, 1989 was the summer of the Bat. It was the summer of Batman.
Yes, it was.
With Michael Keaton, who's going to be coming out in the Flash movie coming out.
Yes.
That was, to this day, that was still, as far as I can recall, the most exciting event movie that I can remember. And even still to this day, it's still the coolest experience I've ever had at the movies, seeing Batman. And it figures very prominently in the story. That was just that movie just dominated the popular culture and the media that summer. It was everywhere. People had it shaved into their heads. People were wearing shirts with the bat symbol. It was everywhere. You couldn't escape it. And part of Dreamin' in '89. Let me think. Let me see what else. At one point, I think the Bash brothers on the Oakland A's are mentioned in baseball. That was the beginning of sort of the power hitting era in baseball. Whether or not it was on this side of the law is kind of still up in the air. But
we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah. 89 was a big year. It was also the year later in that year, after the summers, when the Berlin Wall fell.
Yeah.
But I will say that so other than what I already mentioned, I don't think there's a whole lot that the protagonist in this book is really aware of outside of his little bubble. And I think that that's part of the story, is that he's so hyper focused on his goal in the story, which is to I don't know how much of it you read, but his goal in the story is to become a radio controlled airplane pilot, really to impress his father. And as the story progresses, his reasons and his methods for obtaining this goal become more and more obsessive and more ruthless, respectively, until it gets to the point where it's really a negative. It's really impacting his relationships and his own moral development. And rather than going at it alone, he has to enlist the people who are close to him, his friends, his relatives. And in the end, he's forced to make a real choice between himself and a more altruistic sort of resolution to the matter. But I don't want to spoil it in this
No,
interview.
don't spoil it.
I really want people to read this book. It's an easy read. It was described as a perfect summer/beach read for people who are going on vacation. Not right now, but it's a several day read. I've been told it's a page turner. I'd like to think that that's true. So
I hear you. I absolutely love that. What is the difference between that 12-year-old boy then and this man that I see before me now?
That's an excellent question. I not something I was prepared to answer. I would have to say a lot of life experience, a lot of good and bad, and a lot of learning that life is really about who you can help and who you can serve, rather than just getting stuff. Having been a Marine and being a father and serving clients, I think that's the main difference. Is it's what you can do for others rather than what you can accumulate.
Yeah. I asked that question because this book will literally take us back to 1989 and also to that 12-year-old little boy that you used to be. I mean, just imagine seeing that 12-year-old boy on the screen being who you are today. How would that make you feel?
Proud. A real sense of accomplishment, because wanting to be a writer and wanting to be somebody who made movies and wrote for my own productions, my own books, my own short stories, my own movies, my own plays. It's something I've wanted since I was very young, 5 years old. It's always been something that was very important to me. It was not until I was 13 years old in 8th grade when I discovered the works of J.R.R. Tolkien, The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, that I really knew that being a writer was my destiny. But I would feel a real sense of calm and a real sense of accomplishment and peace if I were to see this story and this character based partially on myself up on a big screen someday.
That would be amazing. I would be so happy for you. I'd be definitely happy for you. And I hope it does come through. Dream Books is an amazing company, and being with them, I could say that they're going to do their best to try and get that done. As far as like talking to maybe your son or someone as that age at 12 years old, but 12 years old today is totally different than 12 years old in 1989. But what would you tell that 12-year-old boy if you could see him today?
Be more confident, because someday you're going to earn it.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you. And I know I threw some curveballs at you today.
Oh, no,
Okay.
I'm glad you did. That's so again, the title is Dreamin in 89. That's DREAMIN apostrophe in 89. My name is Todd Monahan, or TG Monahan is my pen name. This is available on my website. It's available from Citrine, and it's also available on Amazon. This is what it looks like if you're. I'm hoping to have some news soon enough about the screenplay and about the process of it turning into a movie. So I thank you very much for your time today.
No problem. I thank you for being on the show, and you keep that 11-year-old in your sight.
I'll try. It's not always easy.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to go ahead and go to the description box below for that link and all of the information on how to get that book and check it out for yourselves. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in, and don't forget to dare to be different. Until next time, guys. Bye.